Hey folks, Valentin the Mad here, and today's video is on Black Orchestra mod for Rising Storm 2. I recently talked with two of the guys behind it, North Dumpling and adriaNsteam. In the first part, I'll summarize the key points, there's some additional showcasing afterwards, and tomorrow there will be the second part of this interview about the character responses. Some very impressive enhancements there. So, the mod is essentially a community-made expansion and enhancement of the game, bringing World War II into Rising Storm 2. It began with several teams that were working on different mods but all roughly in the same direction, so rather than splitting the player base, they decided to join forces and make it a joint effort. The war theaters that are planned for the initial release are the Eastern, Western, Pacific, as well as the African front. The China-Japan war is also planned, but that will come after the initial launch, Korea is a maybe, and more theaters are considered. Beyond that, they are planning gameplay enhancements too, such as expanding the commander options, with more types of artillery strikes, Stuka bombers, and perhaps naval support, tweaks to the weapon handling, so more realistic weapon sway, no longer the huge zoom when you're holding your breath, and bayonets are going to be removable attachments. They're going for a believable feel but not overly realistic, accessible realism as Dumpling defined it. Another very cool thing is that weapons are going to be limited to specific maps. So for example, if a map is based on a battle early in the war, you won't have weapons that weren't available or common at that time. So the loadouts are gonna be based on what would have been used in battle in that specific time period. There will be more vehicles and more vehicle types, such as jeeps and armored cars, as you can see in this clip. The spawn points, however, are still going to be close to the action. You won't have to rely on vehicles just to get to where the fight is at. As for tanks, there should be more of those on the battlefield at a time, but they're still balancing this aspect out, to see just how many you can have, how many crew members in each tank, and so on. There will be tweaks to the player movement too, once again within the idea of accessible realism, but to make it feel a little more believable. A major thing, in my opinion, is the bot enhancements. In RS2, the bots are basically not useful for much of anything beyond gore and ragdoll testing, so bot AI is something they've been actively working on. Seems like we'll have a functional single player mode, we'll be able to enjoy it that way, or even play co-op with some friends. Of course, all in addition to the regular PvP modes. Graphical enhancements are also planned, as much as that would be possible in such an engine, more on that later. And they are looking for additional modders and team members too. Not only programmers and such, but also people who have a history background, who may have relevant references, photos, documents, who may work in a museum and want to help out. They want it to be historically accurate, so if you are watching and you can help out, their Discord link is in the video description. As for the release, it is planned towards the end of this year, perhaps early next year. The foundation is basically there and it's largely about adding more content and fleshing it out. Now, to the other part of this chat with some additional insights.
And so when building the maps, use Quixel Mega Scans. So there's a company that does photogrammetry. So we have like some rock, like let's say if they go to Africa, they photo scan a rock, they make a 3D model out of it. It's distributed for free. So for every Unreal Engine game or project, it's completely free, which is what we use.
Nice.
So yeah, we made a unique shader material so we can have any quixel mesh, like a rock or a cliff, and have it blending in with terrain itself, so it doesn't have a visible seam. So it should look very impressive, especially for Unreal Engine 3. But right now it comes at a bit of a cost. So it doesn't cast dynamic shadows because of how old Unreal Engine 3 is.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to find a workaround for that. So it is more visual appealing. It has dynamic shadows applied as well, like shadow from a character.
Good.
But yeah,
Save the
we
map.
use it to build a more complex and I would say more appropriate fidelity. So we're not painstakingly making assets by hand. We can just go to Quixel Megascans, take an asset we want, apply shader material and place it on a map. And it just works like a clock.
So you see the character a little dirty,
Uh-huh.
but depending on the material he falls on, the amount of dirt on the character.
As there is a bit of a lex already.
There's only a little bit on them, like pre-applied.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
That's cool.
fall.
So the more you crawl, the dirtier you get.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And over
that's
time, it will fade away.
Hmm.
But dead people. So that guy who fell over there, he's gonna get dirty. Wow, he's gonna slowly be. He's on the ground more.
I mean, should it fade away? Like, because...
When it's on, well, we don't want the guy to stay dirty forever.
nobody really lives for terribly long in this game, so...
Still kind of a nice feature.
Yeah, but it is cool, for sure. For sure.
So yeah, this is like Tunisia campaign, it's 1943. So basically, gameplay itself is very gritty, but our locations are, well, I would say they're not exaggerated. So they looks like they would in real life, I would say. It might seem a bit saturated. If anything, we can adjust it in the future, depending on the feedback. Like, if people feel like this is too much color, we can just adjust it on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be right. Our main inspiration was basically World at War. I would say like Call of Duty 5. Yeah, it's kind of a brutal game, I would say.
It is one of the best codes.
Yeah, I would say you can have a beautiful location and you can still have kind of a war involved, you know. It's not all just gray.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually like the idea of, you know, like having a peaceful location get like messed up during combat itself. Not like having it necessarily be all grey.
Yep. Yeah, Adrian, you can show kind of a more gritty difference in a city location, like in a Majes itself. You just need to cross the bridge and head over to the city, yeah. But yeah, this is basically city brought into war unwillingly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of damaged stuff, a lot of barricades. So something comes from nature, like trees and let's say rocks. Something else comes from civilian infrastructure, like certain buildings, city itself, and then comes the war. So this German bank, I think there's a bit of a problem with lighting because I've said it too much ambient occlusion. So it killed it. It's very dark. Should be fixed. But you can see bullet holes on the outside. Can kind of show it. Yeah, this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more logical. Like we don't have destruction yet. I don't know about that.
Yeah, you can't have everything, essentially.
Yeah, North Africa, they had a lot of cities that had both, like Christian church and a mosque. So let's say we'll be having Tobruk map, which is a city map, like a lot of urban fighting. So they have both. This city just has one at the moment, so we didn't finish the second one yet. But yeah, as you can see, like outside has bricks painted. It's a vertex painting, so we can just apply smart material and paint the damage on a building ourselves where we want it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a graveyard, Unreal Engine 5 trees, a lot of little detail. This is an old engine. It limits us quite a lot, but we just try to make it high fidelity where we can,
Well, I think
like
like from what
physically.
I'm seeing, both the overall work and Adrian's work in the response department, yeah, this stuff is very impressive, especially for this engine.
But yeah, this map should be having like heavy versus heavy tank, so it would be Tiger 1 versus Churchill. And as you can see, it has a lot of passages for the tanks themselves. And you can play it as infantry only map as well. So this is something we're looking at. Like let's say you have two people on the server and you want to play tank versus tank. You can just grab and take it. Or if you want infantry only, 1 versus 1, you can just grab a sniper role. So like a sniper duel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we try to keep the level of fun in the map itself. So we're not having like huge problems where you can like Gumrak map